everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel, and this is your tip of the week. I'm going to talk about embellishing towels. Now, I will sometimes put my sewing machine applique projects onto a towel. That's really easy to do. You don't need an embroidery machine to do that, but I'll also combine it with using my embroidery machine to maybe put words, special sayings that have something to do with the applique that I put on there. When you're working with towels, you have to be careful how you prepare the towel to go into your embroidery machine. There's all kinds of towels out there. This is something like a terry cloth. It has a lot of texture on it. Also, there is your regular terry cloth. The regular terry cloth, I don't especially like doing embroidery stitches on it because you have to be really careful how you prepare it. So before you put your towel in an embroidery hoop, this is just a small one, you need to not only have your tearaway stabilizer underneath, but you also need another stabilizer on top of it. And this is a really thin piece of plastic that you lay over the top. So you've got 3 layers. You have your tearaway stabilizer underneath, the towel, and then this thin layer of plastic you lay over. And then you put it into your embroidery hoop. If you don't have the thin layer of plastic on top, as it's stitching, it will start forming loops. It's pulling on that terry cloth, and the stitching will come out looking pretty bad. So that's why it's so important to put the plastic on it. My favorite type of towel to do embroidery on are flour sack towels. They're just flat. Nothing special about them, and it's just really easy to stitch on it. You still have to have your tearaway stabilizer on underneath. Now there's all types of flour sack. There's some that are really, really thin. I don't like to use that. This one is a little heavier. I've even found flour sack towels that are really thick. Before I do an towel embroidery project, I like to look for fabric that I can use that's going to inspire me. For instance, this has snowmen on it, and it's got snowflakes falling all around them. So I looked in my embroidery machine and I found a little snowman already in it. Now, if you have an entry-level sewing embroidery machine where it just has the small hoop, you probably have something already built into your machine, some patterns that are already in there. If you don't have these things in your machine, you can go to other websites and download the stitch patterns to your machine. So refer to your user's manual for instructions on how to do that. So what I did was, to coordinate with this fabric, I put "Let It Snow." And I used 2 different font styles, 2 different colors of thread to actually add a little more interest to it. And then I put this rickrack to just sort of make the red in this fabric pop out. This is a really thick flour sack towel. I think I bought them at Walmart, but I'm not sure. I wish I could remember because they're really nice. I liked them. So this is an example of using your sewing machine to do applique on it, okay? Now you can do it on an embroidery machine at a future tutorial. I'll go over that with you, but right now in this tip of the week, I'm not going to talk about that. So for those of you who all you have is a regular sewing machine, you can still embellish towels with things like this. But after doing this, I did this part first, then I put it into my machine and then printed out peppermint. And so that's all I did, was just peppermint. I could have done something like "Have a Merry Peppermint Christmas," but I just wanted peppermint. I actually love peppermint candy. I get addicted to it sometimes. Now, I have a very expensive embroidery machine, and it has 4 different hoop sizes. My favorite hoop size is the one that's medium. It's about this size. I forget what the measurement is of it, but that's my favorite. When I've come up with a design that has to go in this large one, I just dread it. Because if you don't get it mounted correctly in here, and it's much harder to mount your project in one of these, because when you're trying to stretch and make everything taut and the fabric completely smooth, this part here pops off. So often I have to get my husband to come in and help hold it in place while I'm adjusting the fabric. So let me show you what can happen to your project if you don't have it mounted in there correctly. I was doing another winter towel project where it was going to say let it snow, and I had a different type of fabric that was going to be at the bottom. I knew I was in trouble when I saw on the letter S that it had skipped some stitches, and I thought, oh well, that's okay, it's not really that noticeable. But then as I was going along, I began to notice problems with some of the other letters. Then all of a sudden, the W got way out of alignment and began to bunch up, and the W went up like this. So as I was watching the disaster happening, I saw the fabric just coming really loose and bunching up. So you have to be really careful. Take plenty of time to mount that fabric and make sure that it's completely stretched smooth. You don't want to overstretch it, but make sure it's very, very flat. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, you've wasted that towel. Part of it. What I'm going to do with this towel is I'm going to cut this part off, put it away somewhere to remind me of my disaster and try not to repeat it again. So I can use the other half of this towel for another towel project. And this time I would fold it into thirds and put some fabric up at the top to use to hang it over my dishwasher handle. So don't throw the towel away. It's still very usable. There's one more towel I want to show you that I did not make. I didn't use my embroidery machine. And I bought it at Cracker Barrel restaurant. They have a gift shop and they have just really fun items in that store. And now my embroidery machine doesn't have these kind of fonts in it, but I want you to look at it. It's got leaves, different font styles for the lettering, and you probably won't find this design in your machine, but you can set it up. You can still use different fonts, put a few autumn leaves. You probably have at least one type of a leaf in your machine. Use the fall colors, and I loved how they highlighted the word grateful with blue. So don't be afraid to use different colors on each of the words. The fabric that I'm probably going to put at the bottom is just this really simple muted green color. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tip of the week and that you learned something new. I hope you try working with your embroidery machine. I know many of you tell me, I bought one, but I haven't turned it on yet. You need to turn it on. For those of you who have just bought a new sewing machine, you need to turn it on. You need to work with it. Do anything. Just step on the pedal and go. Stitch something. Put in some scrap fabric into your embroidery machine and print out a word or pick a design that's in there. Just start using it. Once you learn how to use your new machine, you're going to probably just love it. Now, if you're interested in other tips of the week, I will have a playlist link down below where you can scroll down to the description section, click on the words Show More. That will expand open and you will see that playlist. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl, this is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.